So this is part 2 of the chapter on the Roman Empire. So let's go ahead and get into this. So there's some problems in the empire going on here. Some of the later emperors of Rome feared Rome was getting too large and hard to control and gave away some of its land. And so that would be stupid. But the idea behind it was if they could control all the area around Rome, that was going to lead to rebellions and uprisings and things like that. And so they want to make it harder, easier to control by putting areas that would be loyal to Rome, but not necessarily that Rome had to deal with. Rome was having to deal with threats from the north with Germanic tribes and from the east with Persia. Disease and internal struggles also weakened Rome, including people allowing the Germanic tribes to move in and settle. They were allowing these Germanic tribes to move in and just kind of set up camp, and it's going to wind up coming back to bite them. Now, Diocletian is important because he was the emperor that divided Rome into 2 parts. Now, Diocletian basically said, look, it's getting too hard to control this empire. We've got to split it up. So they divided it up and made what would become the Eastern and the Western Roman empires. Now, when Constantine comes to power, he has the capital moved to Turkey. The capital is named Constantinople after himself. This is what is modern day Istanbul. And this is going to be a big role in terms of like the conflict between Christians and Muslims, because when Muslims take over, they rename it Istanbul. When Christians had it, it was Constantinople. So you just kind of see here that this is divided up here. So you just kind of see that this is the area right here that includes Italy, which is the Western Empire. The Eastern Empire is going to include a lot of the areas up here around Jerusalem, all the way over into the Tigris and Euphrates. So, it's just some of the different areas right here that's going to be included in that. So just kind of divided up the way that map is divided. So, early invasions, the Goths were victims of the Huns, and when the Goths couldn't defeat the Huns, they fled into Rome. So when the Goths was like, dude, these Huns are pretty tough, they go into Rome. Well, the Romans feared the Goths, and so they paid them to leave them alone. That basically was like, and this is the equivalent of modern day somebody giving somebody their lunch money to not bully them. Hey, if you leave me alone, I'll give you my $5. That's kind of the idea behind this, is they were paying them off to leave them alone. When the payment stopped, the Goths invaded in 410. They destroyed the city of Rome. Now, the problem with this is, keep in mind, the Goths were the victims of the Huns. So when the Huns are sitting back, they're like, wait a minute. The Goths just beat up on the Romans? No, we need to get we need to get a piece of that action also. We need to go in there and invade. We need to go in there and take some stuff. And so it's going to open up the door to all kinds of people trying to invade in Rome. The Gothic victory inspired other groups to invade Rome as well. Of course, the Huns is one of these. And they were led by Attila. Attila the Hun attacked the eastern part of the empire. That's the part that is the closest to Asia, where they was really attacking. Rome needed strong leaders to attack these invaders, but they were weak. Military leaders took over the Rome from the emperors. They basically said, get out of the way, we'll deal with this. Conflict among the military leaders led to more division and allowed people to come in, and in 476, the last foreign invader came in, overthrew the emperor, named himself king of Italy, and led to what historians know as the fall of the Western Empire. It was just chaos. They couldn't get strong leaders in. Everybody else was trying to take over, and they really couldn't do anything. And so a foreign invader came in, named himself king of Italy, and overthrew the Western Empire. Now, the Eastern was still going on at this time. There were numerous factors in Rome's fall, including the size of the empire. It was hard to control, as I did mention. Some people believe that social change also played a role, and some people blame the adoption of Christianity into the empire, undermining Roman culture. Now, this is going to be a common thing in the Roman Empire, blaming the Christians. We see that Nero blames Christians for a massive fire, leading to persecution of Christians. There's a lot of different things that they blame on the Christians during this time. They're an easy, what we call scapegoat, which actually derived from a Jewish custom, the term scapegoat again did. Now, the Eastern Empire was still kicking at this point. So Justinian, which was the ruler that wanted to reunite the old Roman Empire, came up and said, hey, you know what? Let's restore this. I want to make the Mediterranean Sea a Roman lake again. Because that's what they would call it, a Roman lake. Because they believed, well, they didn't believe, they did own everywhere surrounding the Mediterranean. So that belonged to Rome. And at this point, Justinian's looking like, man, we need to get back what was once ours. So he wanted to reunite that. He was passionate about this, along with the church, and he wanted every law that was out of date or unchristian to be removed. He was successful, but he had many enemies. And I love the way it's told. There's a History Channel documentary. If you get a chance to watch it, it's called, I believe, The Dark Ages is, I think what the name of it's called. The Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, something like that. And in this, it describes about Justinian and Theodora, and it does such a good job describing it. But the idea behind it is that Justinian goes, and he's going to flee by boat in the middle of the night. He's going to leave because he's like, they're going to kill me if I stay. And Theodora basically is like, we're going to stay. If we die, we die. And if not, we're going to take back what rightfully belongs to us. And it really kind of gives him this support he needs to stay. Theodora was the powerful wife of Justinian. She convinced him to stay and fight when he wanted to flee. And the people was trying to drive him out of Constantinople. He stayed and he crushed his opponents. But when he died, the empire started to dwindle, and eventually the Eastern Roman Empire fell as well. So what happens here is that the eastern part of the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire in general, falls at this point. So I'm going to talk just a few minutes about the Byzantine Empire. The group that took over the region after the Eastern Roman Empire fell was a group of people who spoke Greek rather than Latin. These were the Byzantine Empire. The group that took their name after the Romans in the east, after the city of Byzantium. Christianity was a big part of their beliefs, with the nice churches that was built as evidence. They would go on to cause a division in Christianity that would separate in the Catholicism and the Eastern Orthodox Church. So just a few things on that real quick. This is going to lead to a split. You're going to have the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox, which is mostly Greek Orthodox. And we're going to talk a little bit about Protestantism when we get to that, about the third branch of Christianity. So, this is talking about the fall of Rome, so I hope that you learned something in these two videos about Rome. Once again, it was rushed. That's just kind of how it has to be right now. I just hope you pick up on a little bit of this information. We have talked about this. This was what we did right for the video series about the Bible mini-series. So we talked about this already. I hope this is a refresher to you, and I hope that you learned something maybe you didn't catch the first time. So thank you for watching this. Tune in for the next video, which is we're going to go back to chapter 6 and talk a little bit about the Chinese and the different dynasties that takes place in China. So stay tuned for that.